Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. JACALYN. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. JACALYN at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to USA Global TV and Business Talk Radio. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is the Listening Mentor. What is a listening mentor, you might ask, or who is the listening mentor? I am the listening mentor, and what that means is I teach people how to listen at an elevated level. Why do I do this? I really believe that in order to have inner peace and be one step closer to world peace, we need to learn how to listen to each other. That means listening without judgment, listening without interruption, listening without providing a solution, and listening without trying to one-up whatever the other person's story is that they're sharing. Joining me on this journey is Caroline Heward. She is the Harley Street stress expert, and she joins us every Friday. Today's topic is the perfectionist. You know who you are out there. All right, welcome, Caroline.
Hello, always good to be here.
Always good to have you back. And I'm really just so excited for this topic because I have been a perfectionist most of my life and realized at some point that it's just not worth it. So I would love for you to start out, Caroline, for people who are joining us for the first time. Where is Harley Street? What is Harley Street? And what do you do as a stress expert?
Where is Harley Street? It's in London, and it's famous for its qualified and specialist doctors and complementary alternative therapists. Why Harley Street? Because that's the place where it's the place to be if you're good. So if you're good at what you do and you have the right credentials, it's a good place to be there. Have a license to practice there. I felt that if I was going to do complementary therapies, then I would work from the best place possible. So that's why Harley Street. It's known for its standards in Europe as well as in the UK. Why stress expert? I've been doing this work for 22 years. I would say that makes me a bit of an expert. And what do? I actually help people manage their stress. Sometimes we're walking around with that headache, that low back pain, or we keep coming up with specific events that keep appearing in our lives, a repeat pattern of experiences. It's those kinds of things that cause us the stress. It's like same experience, different person, different time, different name, but same inner experience. And these are repeat patterns. So I help people overcome all manner of what creates their stress in their lives. And I help them to move back into a place of inner peace and inner harmony. So that's moving them into a deeper place of sleep and in a place of silent mind.
Thank you, Caroline. And you're also a peace ambassador. What does that mean?
Peace Ambassador, I was awarded by the Universal Peace Federation back in May 2019 by the directors. And essentially, that's because they've seen of the work that I do that's kind of over and above the paid work and my approach to move the world into a greater state of peace by working with individuals and groups of people to create inner peace, because that's how we create world peace. We create world peace by creating an inner peace one by one or group by group. And that then in turn creates an inner peace in their communities, their families, and their colleagues, their businesses. And that's how we create world peace, by moving from mind to heart. And they recognize the work that I do. And it's also an award to keep going. It's like sort of, this is like sort of saying, not that I've achieved it, but this is kind of saying, hey, you've got this Peace Ambassador Award. Now it's kind of your job to keep going. It's my license to keep on at it. So it's not an ending that I've achieved it. It's like sort of an award to keep going.
Congratulations. That is truly outstanding. And I also want to announce that Caroline has a chapter dedicated to her and her story in my new book, which is Adversity to Awesome. It might be nice if I remove the comment. Sorry. Adversity to Awesome, True Life Stories of Inspiration from Survivors of Imprisonment, Addiction, Sexual Assault, and More. I have the first chapter in the book, and Caroline has an additional chapter. So that'll be available. It was going to be available April the 4th, but we didn't get all the chapters back yet from various people. So it will be coming out May the 4th. So stay tuned for that. I also want to say hello to our super fan joining us, Nat. Welcome back, Nat. She is a hairdresser in Las Vegas and so much more. She's an expert on snakes and also on anti-inflammatory, which supplements a person should take. She's a certified personal trainer for years. And she also writes, I could use more inner peace and more inner harmony for sure. I deal with migraines and anxiety, so avoiding needless stress is hugely important. That's something you help people with, isn't it?
I sure do. I've got something for you today.
Let's hold on for 1 second. She also posts, she's a writer and she writes mostly mystery, sci-fi, and horror and deals with a lot of dark topics, but in a way it helps with her stress. So Caroline, we're going to talk about the Perfectionist, but you have a special offer for people, as you always do. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, as I described, stress affects us in different ways, whether it's physical, emotional, mental, behavioral, however it shows up for you. Essentially, I look at one or two root causes. So you might be getting repeat low back pain, or repeat migraines, or repeat heart palpitations. So whatever it is that you're getting repeat patterns of, it could be behavioral, in your environment in terms of your relationships, your intimacy. It could be, anger management. So whatever it is that's causing you stress, it's essentially whatever you're complaining about. I will look and identify one or two root causes. And when you have the root cause, it literally dissipates and you will feel better and it will create an inner peace for you. And whatever emotion is locked, that's been trapped in your body, will literally dissipate and you will get an incredible night's sleep. So email me on nomorestress@live.co.uk and book in your free 30-minute Zoom Stress Buster consultation. I look forward to hearing from you soon.
Thanks for offering that to our audience. I really appreciate it. All right, today we are going to talk about the perfectionist. This is the person that everything has to be just right. And I think from having been like that a lot of my life, you miss out on a lot of opportunities. You cause yourself incredible anxiety and stress. And I don't like to use labels, but I feel like I was kind of a jerk when I was acting like that. So how would you describe it, Caroline?
I have been, and I probably to some degree still am, a perfectionist. I'm getting looser with it because I know how much stress it causes. But it's the person that won't put their foot forward until everything's perfect. And so I've never written my book because I kind of think, well, I haven't got the investment, or I haven't got the time, or what's the title of it going to be? And until I've got everything together, I won't even start. Everything's written in my mind. I've got it all in my head, and it doesn't get down on paper. And it's that kind of thing that sort of I didn't actually ever do a workshop until I got trained and qualified and accredited that I could deliver a workshop. And it's almost like it holds you back, and it actually is my own self-sabotaging mechanism, because it's others that recognize your greatness. It's a personal self-sabotaging mechanism that's within, and it comes from a place of on some level of not feeling good enough.
And we could dive into that, right? We could look into the person's past. But let's start with this, since Nat is out there with us. Perfectionism is a hard demon to beat. She's a stylist, a decorator, and an ex-personal trainer, so it's hard to live up to her own standards. So let's talk about that. The standards that we set for ourselves are sometimes based on standards that other people have set for us in the past. And maybe we want to outdo them, or maybe we've had conflict accepting them. What can we do when it comes to setting realistic standards so that we're not constantly going like this inside of our brain?
When we set standards, it comes from a very young age, and it can be expectations of your family, of a parent, of your peers, of the school, the university, the college that you're at. Wherever it comes from, there will be, and certainly in certain cultures, there are standards that are expected to be reached for the individual member sibling. And essentially, if you don't feel that you're reaching that standard, there's this holdback of not putting yourself forward. So this can come from your family to begin with, or your peers, and then it can be an inbuilt mechanism that says, unless I've won this award, I'm not good enough. Unless I've done this way, I'm not going to accept that that's good enough. And so we almost hold the bar higher than perhaps others would hold the bar. And so we then hold ourselves in a perpetual cycle of never feeling that what we did was good enough. And it turns out that we're our own worst inner critic, and we criticize, nobody else is criticizing us as much as we're criticizing ourselves. And that's where it comes from. We'll never feel that it's good enough or high enough, because we'll always look for fault, because it's the way our mechanism is inside. And so my advice is to relax, because you'll be an expert in your field because you'll know more than the person that's coming to you. So you're always going to have that expertise over and above whoever is coming to you, because they haven't done the training that you've done, and they don't have the knowledge that you have.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you. We've got some follow-up comments from that, but before we get to that, I just want to share. So I have been obsessed with my weight my entire life. And I remember I was 14 years old, and it's something that my parents said to me about, it's easier to love you if you're thin. It's something like that, but it just sat with me for my whole life. And so my point is, now I'm 59 and I work out all the time. As you know, I'm very, very strong, but I'm not as lean as I used to be. And every day I'm obsessed with it. I'm like, oh, I hate myself. I'm not as lean as I used to be. I work out twice, 3 times a day, but it's not going to change because of my age. But yet the point is, if I allow myself, this is in my mind, if I allow myself to accept how I look now, then maybe it'll just get worse. Do you know what I mean? It's like holding on to something for dear life, like trying to be as lean as I used to be, or else it's just going to go complete landslide.
We are our beliefs, and belief breaks down to be lie. And essentially what happens is, whatever we believe becomes true in our reality. And so we can be lie to ourselves, because that becomes our truth. Whereas your belief is not necessarily other people's beliefs. And so your beliefs take you to work out all the time, to be very conscientious of your food, and to be constantly in that mind thought of making sure that you're thin. Other people will see you as toned, other people will see you as thin. And this is what I mean by we're our own worst inner critic. We will always see what's not right. I remember when I was growing up, I hated my curves. I could not stand the fact that I was a curvaceous young, teenager. And it took me a very long time to fall in love with my curves. And when I did, it was in my, I think I was in my 40s when I actually finally let go and said, you know what, I'm okay with my curves. Is that I would always cover up and wear really baggy clothes because I didn't feel comfortable, because I believed that it wasn't attractive. And because my belief was that, I didn't feel attractive. And it wasn't what other people were seeing, it was what I was feeling because it's what I believed. And when I suddenly dropped that belief through some work that I did on myself, some training that I undertook, I changed the fact that actually it does look good, and I felt comfortable. And it's the same. It's like sort of what feels good for me would not necessarily feel good for somebody else. Now, many people are always looking, sort of that want a very voluptuous figure, are looking for breast enlargements. I landed up having a reduction because I didn't feel comfortable with the weight and the size that I was. And so, whatever we believe attracts our reality in terms of our feelings and our experiences. So, there's nothing wrong or right. It's just we can change our beliefs to feel more comfortable with what we're experiencing in our everyday life. There is no rights or wrongs here. There is only what feels right for you.
Thanks, Caroline, and thanks for that transparency as well. We just lay it all out here, don't we? Just put it all out for everybody to know. We've got a couple of comments I want to highlight. The first is from that. If she left her house, she let her house and diet fall apart. It's really stressful. She stayed up till 3 a.m. cleaning and organizing. I want to add to this: when I vacuum, it has to be in perfect lines. The lines have to be perfect. So that's the first comment. And then the second, we've got Adam is with us. Hi, Adam. Nice to have you with
Hello.
us. And he asks a question. He's a question surrounding stress. What does your body do to you when you go to sleep, but you're still stressed? So I think he means what happens to your body when you're still stressed. So let's start with the first comment from that about staying up and being obsessed, in quotes, about cleaning and organizing. Can't go to sleep till you get it all done.
Nat, I'm very like that too. It has to be sparkly. If I do my housework, it's all sparkly. I even have the good cleaning cloths. I've spent lots of money on different cleaning cloths. It is your way. It's not wrong and it's not right. It's your way. And there is a pride in that. There are some people that are homemakers that like to do that. And it is a satisfaction inside of you that makes you move to that place. And at the same time, if it wasn't there and wasn't right for you in that sparkly way, it would affect you. So it's actually about you feeling in a state of acceptance that if it's not dusted or you've not done one or two items, that you can do them the next day. Because I've had to kind of go, do you know what? At 4 o'clock in the morning, maybe I should just go to bed because I'm up at 8 o'clock in the morning and I just need to sleep. And then I polish off the few mirrors that need doing the next morning. It depends, because there is a driver in you that moves you to finish a task, and that's not bad. It's just if it starts to affect you in a negative way. So these are what I would call good habits to have. They're not bad habits. It's only if it affects you in a negative way and you want to do something that makes it feel better for you. I would then suggest some things that I do is I kind of say, you know what? I can leave these 3 items till tomorrow morning, when I've had about 4 hours in bed. Or you can say, do you know, if I just leave the bedroom, nobody's going to see that. And I can do that another day. But it's kind of making choices, and it's making heartfelt choices that feel good for you.
Thank you for sharing that. Thanks for that comment, Nat. I know I've done a lot of entertaining in my life. Of course, obviously, since the pandemic, I'm spending all my time in the darkness behind the screen, in front of the screen. But when I would entertain, I would stay up as long as it took to make sure every single thing was clean, polished, put away, everything's sparkling, everything's vacuumed, because when I wake up, I want it to be perfect. I don't want to wake up to a mess and think, oh, I have to deal with that. So what are your thoughts about that? Is that okay?
I do the same. In fact, and it's just standards, and there's a value there for you that it has to be clean. When you're heading on a value, then you will keep going no matter what. And that isn't a bad value to have. It's a good value to have, that you have a value on cleanliness and hygiene. And that extends not only in your environment, it extends to you too. I do the same. If I've got some big, event like a dinner party, I don't want to be worrying about the cleaning on the day that I've got the dinner party. I just want to be focused on the food and me. You know what I mean? So
Looking
yes,
fantastic.
I would do the same, and it's not wrong if it feels good. It's only wrong if it leaves you feeling not good. And then there's a suffering there. If there's a suffering, then it is about changing it up so that you're not pushing yourself against that suffering.
Thank you, Caroline. Let's move over to Adam's question about what happens to your body when you're going to sleep and you're filled with stress.
That's an easy one. What happens is when you go to bed, you'll usually go to bed exhausted, especially if you're feeling very stressed. And so when you lie down, the physicality of the exhaustion clears, because the very nature of lying down means that the blood flows freely from the head down to the feet, toes. So any physical exhaustion will be cleared by the time that you wake up, because the body has been oxygenated by your blood, because it flows freely down to the feet. The mental exhaustion is the thing that's not cleared. And that is because what happens is when we're stressed, what we do is we go into the mind and we think, talk, and analyze through everything that we're going through, rather than feeling and experiencing from a sensory place, which is how we were born. And so when we lie down, we haven't found the off switch. And so then anything that is there that's either coming out physically or mentally will be there. And so if you have a physical pain in your low back, it will almost heighten, because you're not distracted by the mind and its thinking and analytical conversation. And so the way to overcome this is to find the off switch, to move out of the thinking conversational mind, because that's where all stress resides. And the off switch is to breathe. When you breathe down into your belly, rather than breathing in a shallow way in the heart center, sort of if you just breathe here in the chest, what that does is when you breathe into the chest, it fills the mind and it keeps the mind active. And because there's no distractions when you're in bed, that's the trigger that keeps you stressed and keeps you awake and alert. So when you breathe down into the belly, that's the lower belly, then the mind literally clears. And then it's easy to fall asleep, and physical, emotional, mental stress can clear in that space of breathing down into the belly and out through the mouth. And the body becomes less tense and the mind clears and enables you to sleep more peacefully.
Fabulous. Thank you for that answer. Adam, I hope that helps. You'll let us know. Okay, we are going to take a quick break and hear from some of our sponsors, and then we'll be back. So please stay with us here on The Listening Mentor with Caroline Heward, the Harley Street stress expert. We will be right back.
Kapayapaan, kapayapaan, kapayapaan.
Diane Floyd Bames' A Song of Peace tells the story of a young lad named Tommy, whose fervent wish for peace on earth touches the hearts of his friends and family, spreads to his community, and eventually unites the whole world around making his dream of peace a reality for everyone. Sit down with the children in your life and share Tommy's amazing story of love and hope. Sing your own song of peace and invite the children to join you. Tommy's tale is more than just a story. It's a movement, and everyone's warmly welcome to take part.
Kapayapaan.
You'll find A Song of Peace, along with many other wonderful learning and enriching opportunities for children of all ages, at dianefloydbame.com.
That place. Those people.
I need to talk to you about your time growing up in St Leonard's Children's Home. 6 of your 8 housemates committed suicide, Mr. Connolly. I'm afraid I have to tell you that another child in your care home, Liam Carroll, has also recently taken his own life.
Jason. Andrew. Liam. I need to find some people. I said get out! I've got to end them! Ah!
If you want to be spending the rest of your life in prison, boy, I'm happy to tell you what you need to know.
Opportunities for people to look at things differently, to have a different perspective, as we've been doing these shows together. What else do you want our audience to know when it comes to managing stress and expectations?
One of the big things is that when we're in the mind analyzes and it philosophizes and it says right, wrong, good, bad, up, down, boy, girl. It will just always compare and contrast. And so when you're in the mind, that's where the stress resides. And my invitation to you is to drop into the feelings and the emotions, because when you're in feelings and emotions, essentially that's a better place to be so that you can handle your stress in a different way. And if you feel angry, sometimes it's better just to say or to shout or to express, because when you express what's not right for you, you'll find that the stress that kept you there will literally dissipate. And sometimes it's as quick as that, and sometimes if we feel emotional in terms of tearful, if we allow the tears, you'll find that the tears don't last for very long. I used to really hold back and control my tears. And I was quite surprised when I did some training, some therapy work, when I was told to stop holding off, stop holding back. And when I allowed myself to cry, it literally was a few, and that was it. And I was kind of quite annoyed with myself because I said, was that it? Was that all it was? All that holding back and that strife of, sort of having the British stiff upper lip, and the emotion wasn't that much that came out. And so now I allow whatever I feel to come out, and in that expression, it leaves me freer to feel and to be. And so that holding on to something that we're feeling and not expressing it actually creates us more pain and more anxiousness than literally allowing ourselves to express and to feel, because it might not be as bad as what we think it might be in our minds.
Thank you, Caroline. You bring up some really good points there, and we've got a great question from that we're going to get to. On Wednesday, we broadcast all day and had some very emotional shows. I mean, just anybody watching would just, I now have a whole thing of handkerchiefs here. And what I found was, because I'm not only hosting the show, but I'm producing the show, and I have all these machines I have to take care of. I can't afford to start crying. I can't, but the tears well up. And so at the end of the day, after I was finished broadcasting, I was a nervous wreck, and I couldn't actually relate what that was. And I think it was, you just hit the nail on the head. I had pressed everything down, all the emotions from the stories the guests were sharing. A woman escaped Ukraine, and she talked about that, and we showed the pictures. And I mean, there's no way that a person could be moved by that. But keeping all of that inside, I ended up being just very anxious and not fun to be around. So I had to say to my family, I'm really sorry, but please pretend I'm not here. And they did, but I didn't.
That's true. It's a very good example. I mean, I cry at movies, because they get your attention, they grab you in. You're almost, participating in the movie by watching it. And, my mum, frequently when I spend time with her at Christmas and we're sitting on the bed together watching a movie, a girly movie, a romantic movie, and I've got tears, sort of in my eyes. She's, yeah, it's touched me too. And I feel a bit embarrassed, And she said, yes, it gets me. And I try and hold it back, but I don't do that very well anymore. It just comes out. And that means that I don't suffer with the stress in quite the same way. And it's actually how we were made. We were made that way. If you look at a young baby, or, sort of a baby just born, or a baby up to about 3 years old, they are very sensory, and they express. If they're angry, they will say, oh, and they will cry for something that they want. If they're happy, they'll be in lots of fits of chuggles and giggles, and it's the way, it's the normal way. What's happened is, in society and our life, we've been told to conform. We mustn't cry at this, and we mustn't cry at that, and we mustn't, sort of show our emotion here. For a funeral, we talk about the British stiff upper lip. and I certainly was like that. For a long time, I would contain my emotions and feelings, but it's actually extremely unhealthy for us to do that. And if we literally express at the time, even if it doesn't feel right because of the social norms that we're supposed to be adopting and, participating in, when we do, it doesn't hurt us as much. And it's kind to ourselves. And it's also kind to the other person to show that we're being real too. And
Yes.
it's okay to cry. It
Okay.
really is. Whether you're a man, a woman, or a child, it doesn't matter. We're still, if we all cut ourselves, we're still the same. We bleed.
Yes. Very true. Great answer. We have time for one question, and it's from Nat. Any tips on dealing with negative news? It's hard to avoid, even if you don't follow it. People talk about it. It's on TV, radio, internet, everywhere. That's why we have this happy platform where we talk about happy things. But it's very true. I don't watch the news. I will look at it on my phone, and I'll just scroll past, and whatever I want to look at, I look at. But it is true, and Nat is in the public. She deals with clients all the time, and they're talking about it. It's on the television. What does she do? How does she deal with this?
Well, I have the same because, it's very, very much in the collective. If you're a sensitive person, you will be feeling the collective sadness and the collective fear and the collective anxiety, and we're not immune, we're all human and everything is frequency and vibration. And my insights for you in terms of how I would deal with it personally is to look at it from a place of being in a space of compassion for yourself and for the others. Because even though it is around us, we can manage our state by being in a state of compassion and inner peace. I literally am meditating a lot. Last night I was in a chanting session with Krishna Das for 2 hours. And so that's the way that I find practices, breathing practices, chanting to Sanskrit mantras, which create an inner peace. So doing something that feels comfortable for you so that you feel that inner peace, because if we're getting caught up with the external fear and panic and anxiety and expressing that in our own world all of the time, we're going to then suffer from the collective anxiety and fear and panic. And I certainly felt like that when it first started. I had a sort of an intensity to do lots of meditation because I was so upset. And because I've done so much, I actually feel better. And yes, it is all around us. It's about managing how we respond and react. And if it's difficult to respond and react in a place of compassion, meditation, and heart space, and creating whatever we can in our own inner environment to create an inner state of peace that extends to our family, to our community, and actually changes the frequency of the world. And if we all do that, we will create a higher vibration of compassion and peace.
Thanks, Caroline. Nat, I hope that helps. So, Caroline, as we close out the show, because we have another show right after this, of course, I just want to thank you for being on this journey with me, and also to let our viewers and listeners know that you have been volunteering your time to do a guided meditation that I am sharing every Sunday for people who are part of our elevated listening community. So I just want to share that. Anyone and everyone is welcome to join. It's drjacalyn.com/join. And each Sunday, Monday morning at the latest, you will receive a link to a video. And this video includes a guided meditation from Caroline. Last week we had fitness tips. I showed how to do a side plank and talked about the benefits of doing planks, and especially side planks. And we also looked at some listening tips that we shared, as well as some of the highlights from our shows for the week. So again, we'd love to have you with us. I'll just put this up again, drjacalyn.com/join. One listening tip that you can give to our audience today before we close out, Caroline?
Oh, there are many. What do I choose? To listen with your heart, to listen rather than try to look at solving a problem, to literally listen with your heart and with your breath, rather than thinking about how you solve their problems that they're talking about, because there is a lot that's going on at the moment in our world, and a lot of things that are stressing us all out. When you listen with your heart and with compassion, it literally melts the other person's heart. It not only melts it, it moves them into a calmer space of inner peace.
Oh, just love your voice. Thank you so much. One more comment from Nat. Big thanks, Caroline. Great advice. You have such a soothing voice. Yes, absolutely. It's nice to listen to. So feel free to contact Caroline. Let's just put that banner up again about the Stress Buster, 30-minute Stress Buster Zoom call. And you can contact Caroline. You can email her at live@live.co.uk. Thank you, Caroline.
Thank you. Always amazing to be here. What a wonderful show. That's gone so quickly.
They always do. I started this morning at 10:09 a.m. Eastern time, and I'll finish at 5. And it's like, whoa, where did the day go? I just met with so many people. And I've just been standing here. It's crazy. But I wish you a beautiful weekend. I'll see you on Sunday for the recording for the Elevated Listening Community.
I'm looking forward to it already.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
again. Bye,
Have a
Caroline.
wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.
Thanks, you too. Bye. Thank you again, everyone. As I share each and every show, I am just so appreciative for everyone who watches, and especially people like Nat and Adam who are engaging and getting out there. That's what it's all about. We're here for each other, asking questions, just being transparent and authentic, and helping each other during very difficult times to see the light, to see the inspiration, to feel the hope, and to know that we are not alone. We are going to close out now. We have another show coming up right after this. The show title is Loving Longevity. And my co-host is Annie Bush. She's a longevity strategist. And our guest is Ellen Warner. She is a very famous photographer, and she's written a book called The Second Half. And she's actually gone and interviewed 40 women over the age of 50, and she's photographed them. They're from all over the world, and she's put together this book that was just released. It's available on Amazon. So I hope you'll join us for that. And let me just see. We have another comment. Oh, thank you. Huge thanks to both of you for this amazing show. I'm home recovering from sickness today. Oh, this has been very uplifting. And I'm totally sharing this channel. Thank you so much. That is so nice of you. We really appreciate it, Nat. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Caroline. I'm going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. You can stay wherever you are watching us, and I'll be running to the other channel. The other studio. Don't go to another channel. This is the only channel. Okay. Bye. Bye, Caroline.